Moving around long wheel, man, I'm gonna jump into some of our favorite player props. These are fun too. Player props, just to kind of give you guys a definition of that. That's pretty much a player's. Vegas pretty much gives a number for each player on a position. So if they're wide out, like a receiving yard total that they would go over or under for that year. For instance, Julio Jones has a over under receiving yards of it's like 1550, something like that. Basically, they're saying, will Julio Jones get 1,600 receiving yards? In essence, will he go over or under? So player props are just kind of fun ways that Vegas lets you just pick an individual player, what he would do that season or that game. So what we're going to run through now, me and Will are going to go through our favorite player season player props for this year. So Will, if you can, man, just run through yours real quick. Let us know what you like, and kind of give the background on why you like them.
Okay. My first one, I'm looking at my list right now, is Derek Carr. Derek Carr. I don't like Derek Carr, but 38.49 yards passing, I think that's a good one. Yeah. Think about this.
It's low-hanging fruit, man.
Right. A quarterback averaging 200 yards a game. That's 16 games times 200. That's 3,200 yards right there. If he just throws a little bit over 200 yards per game, he should get to the 38.49 yards passing for the whole year.
Yep.
The Raiders aren't a good football team. I think they'll be behind in a lot of games. The thing that's different this year compared to last year is he actually has receivers. Last year he didn't have any receivers. He was throwing to what's his name? Jared Cook.
Yeah.
Now he's got Antonio Brown, and on the other side he's got Tyrell Williams. So I think that's a great bet. They're going to be down. They're going to have to throw it. He can get. I expect him to go over 4,000 yards this year. This is his second year in John Gruden's offense. He came out and said he understands the thought process behind the play calling now with John Gruden. So I think they're on the same page. Although I don't know if Gruden sold on Derek Carr. This is a year for Derek Carr where he's got to prove himself. So I think he'll throw for over 4,000 yards this year. My second one, Melvin Ingram and Joey Bosa.
Ooh.
Over 16.5 sacks combined.
Ooh, okay. You're getting crafty. That's like.
And I got my player props from Caesar's Palace. They've got it listed. If you go on Caesar's Palace and take a look at them, I saw that. I said I had to take that.
We need to go put about 10 stacks on this one.
Hey, Joey Bosa can get 16.5 on his own if he stays healthy.
Right. You know what, Wood? That's what I'm. That's how Vegas. Yeah, that's why it's so low, because both of those guys are gonna they tend to get banged up.
Melvin Ingram will get banged up on you too.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna roll the dice and put. This is actually a 5-unit play for me. I think because Joey Bosa's getting to that point where he's trying to play for a new contract. Melvin Ingram as well. Ingram got paid, but he's ready. He's trying to set himself up again to get paid. So both of them have a lot to prove. I think that they'll combined go over 16.5 sacks.
Okay.
Emmanuel Sanders.
E-Man.
Think about this. He's coming off of an Achilles tear, but I've had a chance to watch him this offseason and the preseason, and he looks really good. So, I mean, based off how he's looked, if KD can come back and look like that, then I think KD will be fine.
Yeah.
Emmanuel Sanders has looked good in the preseason. He looks already like he's Joe Flacco's favorite target. They're giving it to him on reverses. They're throwing it to him almost every other play. So I'm going to take Emmanuel Sanders over 65.5 receptions. Again, I don't like the Broncos offense as a whole, but being that I think they'll be down a bit too.
Yeah, that's true.
Joe Flacco loves his veteran receivers and tight ends. I think he'll throw to Emmanuel Sanders a lot. Robert Woods, he's coming off a year last year where I think he had a career year. He had like 1,200 yards.
Mm-hmm.
He did really well. He picked up a bulk of those yards once Cooper Kupp got hurt.
Yeah, he damn sure did. Yeah,
that's when he really emerged. We got Cooper Kupp coming back this year, and we know Jared Goff. It's that you know what? I'm not gonna even say that. I'm not gonna say that. They got a special connection though. If you can figure out what I'm saying, Cooper Kupp is his guy.
Yes.
Now that Cooper Kupp is back, I'm gonna take Robert Woods under 999.5 yards.
Man, why they do that? I was gonna ask you. Why else they put that 0.5? See, that's how they get you.
999.5. He's gonna go under that. I don't think he's gonna get 1,000 yards this year, just because of that. We're gonna call it a bro connection between Jared Goff and Cooper Kupp. I'm gonna take the under on Robert Woods. And then the
Bro
last one,
connection.
right. The last one I got is Travis Kelce, over 7.5 touchdowns. I think he can get that. My guy, your guy, Patty Mahomes, the NFL MVP. I don't think he throws 50 touchdowns this year. He's got to regress to the mean.
Yeah.
That's what history has told us in the NFL. But I think he can still throw 30 touchdowns this year. That offense in Kansas City is dynamic, and I just love Travis Kelce, who is his favorite receiver in the middle of the field outside of Tyreek Hill. I think Travis Kelce will get us 8 touchdowns this year. So I'll put a couple units on that. But my favorite one out of all of them, I got a tie between Derek Carr and Melvin Ingram and Joey Bosa. So
Okay. I like those. Them ain't too shabby right there. And the weird thing is, I thought we would have some of these would actually line up, but that's the cool thing about player props. It's more of a field thing of what you've seen. Like with Emmanuel Sanders, Will's seen him in the preseason with Joe Flacco and seen him work out, and he looks good, and that's his guy. So that's why he likes him. So for me, Will, my top one, and this is kind of lined up with everything. I love the Packers this year. I love Aaron Rodgers over 4,250 passing yards this year. I actually think Aaron Rodgers damn near throws 5,000 yards. And I say that because his new head coach, Matt LaFleur, used to coach for a team that I love, the Falcons, right? The year Matt LaFleur was in Atlanta, Matt Ryan threw for over 5,000 yards. And one of the reasons why he threw for over 5 Gs was simply because Matt LaFleur is a big play action passer. So deep ball, a lot of deep balls. And what happened that year, putting in the belly of Freeman, pulling it out, throwing it deep to Julio, throwing it deep to all their receivers. I think at the time, did they have Tony Gonzalez still? I think it was maybe his last year.
Right.
It was one of those years, but and I went digging on some numbers, but all the years Aaron Rodgers has thrown for over 4,000 yards, he was the highest play action quarterback in the league that year. And people forget when he had Jordy Nelson, James, what's his name, James Jones, and those guys out there. Greg Jennings. It was they were big play action. Mike McCartney, that's when he was doing a lot of play action. Aaron Rodgers was getting back there, just patting the ball and putting it out there. Matt LaFleur's MO is play action football. And play action is going to suck those guys up. Aaron Rodgers got the best arm talent to me still outside of Mahomes. I still think he's a little bit better than Mahomes. Mahomes is just a little bit more cute with it, left hand throwing stuff. So my favorite prop this year, Aaron Rodgers over 4,250 passing yards, and that's going to be a 5-unit play for me. I love it. You like it?
I like it.
Yeah. I mean, when I saw those numbers and stats, man, I'll post some of those numbers, on the podcast page. But that play action number there is just unreal. So the next one kind of goes into, Will's lack of confidence in the 49ers. Jimmy Fraud, as I call him, Jimmy G. Way under 4,100 yards and a half passing yards. And it's funny because people are so high on this guy. He did nothing with the Patriots. Like, I heard the head coach the other day talk about how bad he played the preseason. He was like, guys, you have to remember. Coach Shanahan was like, you have to remember, he's played 8 games. Before he had an ACL injury, he only played 8 games for the Patriots. And he came out for us and tore his ACL. If you have a head coach with that, trying to explain how bad your $130 million quarterback is playing in the preseason like that, you damn sure better worry.
Well, let me just say this really quick, too. He's saying that because his ass got heat up under him. Yeah. Because he got hired as a head coach, and they've done nothing to this point. So he's looking for any excuse to keep him from having the heat on him. So that's why he's talking like that. And I hadn't seen anything from him yet to warrant him being a head coach. Yeah, he's a better offensive coordinator than he is a head coach.
Exactly. I haven't seen him yet to prove that he can lead men, and that's what you have to do in the NFL to be a great NFL coach or even a good NFL coach. So I just think Jimmy G, his ability so far, his his inability to have shown us a reason why he could have those type of numbers, one, is a major factor. And two, his supporting cast. I mean, everybody is trying to hype up Dante Pettis Jr. Cool. Okay. He has a lot of talent. I feel you. I mean, Boise State and all that. But I'm telling you this right now. I'm not trusting nobody with no purple hair to be my number one wideout. That's just facts. I don't give a damn who you are. Unless you a woman and you got purple hair, I mean, nah, I'm not trusting you. So, Jimmy G under 4,100 and a half passing yards. My next one, Le'Veon Bell over 1,125 and a half rushing yards. I think a lot of people are really disrespecting this man. I totally understand his situation in Pittsburgh. He had a really good offensive line. You know, they're saying this or that. The Jets O-line isn't that good. Hey, the Jets O-line aren't slapdicks, okay? They're not that bad. They did a pretty decent job protecting Sam Darnold last year. I mean, let's just be real. They're NFL players too. And Le'Veon Bell is way more shifty than what people give him credit for. The Steelers O-line was pretty darn good, but I promise you Le'Veon Bell made them a lot more money than those guys deserve with some of his moves. And I think they're going to feed him. Anytime a running back gets no carries in the preseason, he's gotten over 300 carries in a year. Period. Zeke did it. He's done it twice, the Cowboys. And I think the first year of Zeke I think he had 8 carries in the preseason, and somebody hit his quad and they sat him down. But basically he didn't get any carries. All those years Adrian Peterson was carrying it. You know, he never ran for the Vikings. What's the guy? I just lost his name. I had him right here on my phone. But yeah. Any back that's didn't run in the preseason has had over 300 carries. Even Michael Turner from the Falcons. Turner the burner. He had over 300 carries the year he didn't do it with Mike Smith. Just kind of give you a nugget. So I love Le'Veon Bell over 1,125 and a half rushing yards. Saquon Barkley under 1,350 and a half yards. He's going to go under. They're not going to be good enough to me. I think at some point they're going to bring in Daniel Jones, and they're going to want to try to find out what they have with him. And let Barkley have a tweaked ankle. They're going to sit him down. They're going to shut him down. There's no point of, running him into the ground. He had a lot of carries last year. Not too much really say about it. I think regression. I think he gets under 1,350 and a half yards, Saquon Barkley. One of my favorites, my second favorite, is Mike Evans over 1,350 and a half receiving yards. I love it. Bruce Arians, coming over. He's kind of a offensive reviver genius. He's a quarterback whisperer. So Jameis Winston, top target. If Jameis is going to have a year where he, earns his $100 million that he's trying to get, he has to throw it to somebody. And over the last 3 years, Mike Evans has averaged right at 1,300. He's had 12, I think it was 1,280, I think 1,189. He's been hovering right around that range.
This is a bounce back year for him.
Yeah. So for him, and these were years where, literally they had zero run game and they were trying to, you knew they were passing, and that's what Fitzpatrick, all those guys. So I think they're actually going to have a decent run game with Barber and Jones a second. Arians will try to open that up, but I think they'll be good there. A guy that is getting too much hype for me, David Montgomery for the Bears. That backfield is way too crowded. He's a talented guy. I think he'll be a good, player in the end. But you have Tariq Cohen, you have David Montgomery, you have what's my man they just brought up, Mike Davis. They brought over all these backs. His rushing total, touchdown total is under 6 rushing TDs. I have David Montgomery under 6 rushing TDs. I just don't think he's going to be the goal line back. He's more of a shifty guy, like a Tariq Cohen type. I think when they get in the goal line, they didn't pay Mike Davis almost $6 million a year to come sit on the sideline. You know what I'm saying? So I think he's under 6 rushing touchdowns. David Montgomery, I really like that. And my pick that is just off the wall, Vic Beasley over 9.5 sacks.
Okay.
Vic Beasley. This one was on. I actually got this one off of Westgate. They had it where you can create a prop. So I created this because it's kind of been a talk in Atlanta. I'm in Atlanta. Can Vic Beasley get double-digit sacks? He got paid a $14 million option. Dan Quinn said this is his guy. He's gonna help him get double-digit sacks.
Yeah,
to
because
prove why
he stole from the city of Atlanta.
He's been stealing from us. He has. I mean, he really has. I mean, he had that one year where I think we had 14 sacks, and he hasn't had over 8 since in the past 3 years. So I think this is the year, though, because he has to have 10 sacks, or, I mean, he won't get another big deal. So I think he balls out with that. So those are my top player props. Like I said, again, Aaron Rodgers is my favorite, over 4,250 passing yards, with Le'Veon Bell and Mike Evans coming right in, right after that, over their totals too. So I really like those, man. And all my plays, Aaron Rodgers be 5 units. All the rest of those, I'll probably go 2 units on those. I may throw a bag at Vic Beasley too, but I don't know. I wouldn't recommend nobody else doing it. That's just me being reckless. Sometimes I like to be reckless. But yeah, man. Will, I wanna get your quick takes on who's gonna be the division champs. Real quick rapid fire, man. Just give me a rundown of who you like to win each division. And if it's a team that it's kind of off the wall, kind of tell me why, man. Let's see what you thinking on this end.
All right, for me, man, starting with the NFC West. That's where I want to go. I want to go out to the NFC West first. I'm taking the Seattle Seahawks to win that division.
What?
Yes. And the reason why I'm taking the Seattle Seahawks
over the Rams?
I'm taking them over the Rams. I'm not sold on Jared Goff yesterday, or not yet at this point. When I looked at that Super Bowl, I was that put me in a bad mood about him. And then Sean McVay as well. Sean McVay, he's the class of 2004, out of the city of Atlanta from Marist High School. I like that. But I think Belichick, even though everybody else in the league is not Belichick, I think Belichick kind of showed the blueprint for them. Todd Gurley, I'm not sold on him yet as far as his injury is concerned. That arthritic knee.
Yeah, he got them knees, man.
Right. Oof. So I'm going to take Seattle. I'm going to, I think the value is there, Seattle, to win the NFC West. NFC South, I like the Atlanta Falcons. We talked about that earlier. I think the Saints take a step back this year. The reason why I say that, this 2 years in a row where they've had heartbreaking losses. They had the Minneapolis Miracle 2 years ago, and then last year, they just flat out got fucked. I lost my money on that.
They did.
They should have been in the Super Bowl, and I think Drew Brees is a year older. I think they take a step back. I do like the Panthers. Even though I'm taking the Falcons, I like the Panthers as a dark horse to win the division too. But I'm gonna go with the Falcons because I just see them with having everybody back. I like the Falcons.
You want me to tell you why I can't take the Panthers?
Why is that?
Because Cam Newton is turning into glass. He hurt his foot today in preseason.
Absolutely. Yeah, but besides the glass, can somebody tie him up and cut his hair? I'm sick of looking at that.
Hey, you see his hair?
I want him to put him in handcuffs and force him to get a haircut.
Oh man, that show was terrible. Yeah.
NFC North, I like the Green Bay Packers.
Okay.
Not sold on Mitchell Trubisky yet in the Chicago Bears. They lost a couple players in their secondary. Still going to be an elite defense, but I think the Bears take a step back. Matt Nagy likes to not. He's already came out and said he's not playing any of his guys in the preseason. And with somebody like Mitchell Trubisky, I think he needs the reps. So until I can see him beat somebody with his arm, I'm going to take the Packers. I think they'll have a bounce back year. Aaron Rodgers. And the Packers did one thing this year that they usually don't do, and that's spend money in free agency. And they did it on the defensive side of the ball.
They sure did.
So, I like the Packers this year to win the NFC North. NFC East, give me the Philadelphia Eagles. I think, with Nick Foles being gone, I love Nicky Foles, the magic of Nick Foles. I love him. But now Carson Wentz is out to prove something. He's been hurt every year he's been in the league so far. I think they just rewarded him with a new contract so he doesn't have to worry about his money anymore. I think this is the year where he shows all those Eagles fans that, he's worth every penny of that.
Yep.
They got Deshaun Jackson is back as a deep threat.
DJ.
I also want you guys to keep an eye on this as well. By the end of the year, he can be making a huge impact. J.J. Arcega-Whiteside from Stanford, 6'6" receiver. I think he's going to eventually take Alshon Jeffrey's place, and he's been having a great camp. So I love the Eagles. As long as they can stay healthy on defense, they'll have a very strong defense as well.
Will over here dropping nuggets, y'all.
I love the Philadelphia Eagles this year. Now, jumping to the AFC. The AFC West, I'm rolling with the LA Chargers.
Okay. Over
everybody's
the Chiefs.
Going to be on the Chiefs this year. I know the Chiefs got Frank Clark from the Seahawks in a trade. Frank Clark is a phenomenal player, but I'm just gonna tell you right now, I almost threw up in my mouth last year watching that defense all year. I don't look until I see improvement from the Chiefs on defense. I'm out on them. I love Andy Reid. I love Patty Mahomes. I love Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, all those guys. Even Mecole Hardman from Georgia at receiver supposed to have he's had a nice camp. He's supposed to, be featured in the game plan this year. Until I see them improve on defense, I'm staying off of them. I love the Chargers on offense and defense. Of course, they got Derwin James out for a bit.
Man,
Melvin Gordon is hanging out or holding out, but
yeah, he hanging out.
He holding out. Look, he hanging out for real. He ain't playing. But Austin Eckler, he jumped right in the preseason. Besides that fumble he had, he actually looked like he could fill in and do whatever Melvin Gordon does. Right.
Yep.
So I like the Chargers. In the AFC South, I got an asterisk by this. You talked about it earlier. So as long as Andrew Luck plays, if he plays, I love the Colts in that division. They didn't make a lot of moves in the offseason. And I think that's smart of them. They're trying to hold on to their money, not spend a lot of money in free agency. I love Darius Leonard, that linebacker on defense, and I love Andrew Luck. Brilliant talent. He's just got to stay healthy. I'll take the Colts because I don't like the division. I don't like Houston, Tennessee, or Jacksonville right now until I see it on the field. So I'm going to go with the Colts, and then two more divisions. The AFC North. You talked about how you like the Browns there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm rolling with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And the reason why I say that,
Here we go.
Right. We're back to Pittsburgh Steelers football where we don't hear a lot of stuff. It's been a quiet offseason ever since Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell have finally left the team. This is the Pittsburgh Steelers we know. I think this is the year that they rally around Juju Smith-Schuster, James Washington, Ben Roethlisberger, James Conner. They still got the same offensive line. I think they're going to make some improvements on defense. They extended Mike Tomlin 1 year. So he's got to go out there and prove it.
Yeah, he got to do it.
I think he pounds the pavement this year and gets the defense right. I think they'll make a run in that division. So I'll take the Steelers. And then of course the AFC East. This is
it's a no-brainer.
This is a no-brainer. We're taking the New England Patriots here. And I like the Patriots to go deep in the playoffs. All I'm going to say is the Miami Dolphins, the Buffalo Bills, and the New York Jets. Give me the Patriots.
Stealing, man. That's stealing. That's not even fair. Belichick versus them, man, I'm not going to get started on that because that'll be a whole nother podcast about that division. That's just some shit. Whatever. Right. Sorry, Mom. But yeah, so for me, we align in a few areas. I'll go ahead and give you guys AFC East. I'm definitely on the Patriots. I mean, that's stealing. Also, NFC East, I like the Eagles. I think Carson Wentz does bounce back, kind of how Will said. But I think more than anything, I think they alleviate some of the pressure off of him. I really like Miles Sanders from Penn State to come in and kind of be a dual threat back for the Eagles this year. I like their running game more than anything. I think that running game is going to open up the passing game. And anytime you have Deshaun Jackson in your receivers core, he can make any quarterback look pretty good with his speed. He got that Will Judson speed, as I call it. So I love the Eagles. I love the Eagles there. We're aligned too with the NFC North, the Packers. I definitely like the Packers. Aaron Rodgers, Matt LaFleur. Like I said, go back to the play action. Call them the play action Packers. If they're the play action Packers, I think they go deep into the playoffs this year. I love them. We totally disagree on the NFC West. I hear you with Seattle. I mean, it sounds real good, Will. It sounds good, but I don't know. I mean, I just don't see – I don't think the Rams have a hangover like a lot of people think they will. A lot of people have gotten exposed against Bill Belichick. So I wouldn't really hang my hat on the fact that you didn't look good against Bill Belichick with 2 weeks to prepare for your team. You know what I'm saying? So, and a lot of people forget that Super Bowl. You have a bye week. You have a good amount of time to kind of scheme up, and Belichick's the master of that, having extra time to scheme up for a team, and that's why it's so hard to beat them in Super Bowls. So I'm gonna stick with the Rams there. I think Gurley's backup, Mr. Henderson from Memphis, is gonna actually be a nice stopgap, so Gurley doesn't get worn down too much. So I think I like them to win the division. We both like the Falcons. I know I sound like a homer because I live in Atlanta. That's my team, but I really do think every year the Falcons have no expectations. They ball out, and every year they have expectations. They poop their pants, and everybody's throwing them down the toilet. Their O-line's not good. Matt Ryan's overpaid. Devontae Freeman can't stay healthy. The Falcons this, the Falcons that. Dan Quinn needs to go, this or that. Every time they do that to the Falcons, they always shut everybody up. So I like them to win the NFC South. But I do like the Panthers too. I was with you on the Panthers, but my little glass theory on Cam Newton and his, I think if he cuts his hair and goes back to the old Cam, I think he'll be different. But he's more worried about fashion and all that shit. So whatever. That's that Westlake stuff, Will, I guess. Hey. Sorry if you went to Westlake.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, you better be careful.
Hey, I know Pat Man might come. Hey, Pat, chill out, Pat. I ain't mean it, dog. Look, I'm little LT. Look, don't hurt me. I'm LT, little brother. We cool. All right, we cool, Pat Man. Okay. AFC South. I like the Texans. I know you like the Colts with Andrew Luck. I think Andrew Luck or not, I think the Texans are the best team in that division. They took a blow for me, which hurts. They lost one of their top tackles the other day for the season, which is like, dang. Because that first game, man, I mean, Deshaun Watson in the preseason was patting the ball for like 6 seconds. I think ESPN kind of showed it. He's back there just sitting in the pocket. But I mean, I love that. I mean, I can't even imagine Deshaun Watson with time, with DeAndre Hopkins and some of that receiving core and Lamar Miller. Like, I mean, that's the best thing, that you can have. So I think the Texans win that division pretty easily, even with Andrew Luck at the helm with the Colts. But more than anything, they, to me, have the best underrated running back in the NFL, Lamar Miller. And nobody talks about him. He just gets his, 1,000 yards, 1,100 yards a year quietly and just kills everybody. So I like the Texans to win the AFC South.
I do not like Lamar Miller.
You don't like Lamar? What's wrong with Lamar?
No, he just...
Man, you right there in H-Town, man. You got to be repping.
I just don't like him, man.
You don't like... Okay.
He can be my fourth running back in fantasy. He can be my fourth one, my last one.
If you got a fourth running back with 1,000 yards, boy, you must have a squad. He need to be your RB2.
Straight up.
Yeah, for real. AFC West, me and Will are both on the Chargers. As much as I love the Chiefs, I can't imagine. I really can't imagine that defense getting that much better this year. And I think the Chargers are a way more complete team. And like I said, I know Phillip Rivers is against the clock anyway. I think it's only a matter of time before Phillip can play. I think he only has about 3 years left. So I think that with that time running out and, Phillip need to get things done, I think the Chargers go ahead and take that division by a game or so because they know they can win in Kansas City. They did it last year, won some big games there. So I like the Chargers in the AFC West. My AFC North pick, though, Will likes the Steelers. I love the Brownies. I'm all in. I told you guys at the beginning of the show, I'm drinking the juice, the Browns Kool-Aid. I love them. Love them, love them, love them, man. I think at the end of the day, I think Baker Mayfield's swag. I think Odell Beckham has something to prove. The fact that Odell's playing with Landry, I think the Browns just take that division. The Steelers do worry me a little bit, though, because the Steelers are kind of like that old dog, in a kennel that you kind of write off, and he just be sitting over there.
Wounded. You touch it and it
it got a little bite, but when it comes down to it, and it needs to get up and fight, it can hold its own pretty good, and it has a few tricks up its sleeve where you have to beat that dog. You know what I mean? Right. It's not going to beat itself. And to me, the Steelers are in some ways the Patriots of the AFC North, in a sense that it doesn't matter who's kind of in the system, who they put in. They're all going to be, they're going to be the Steelers. Like until Ben leaves and until Tomlin leaves, I think they're the same old Steelers. So it's going to be tough, but I think the Browns have enough talent to overcome that kind of wise feel of the Steelers to me. So I think the Browns take that division. So that's a quick rundown of my division winners. I love all those teams, man. And like I said, me and Will, we align on some. It's actually kind of cool that we go against each other on some of these because it's weird. Our brains are kind of similar with a lot of these picks, but overall, we both like our picks here. So now, real quick, guys, I want to remind you guys to follow the podcast at That's a Bet Podcast on Instagram and Twitter. Make sure you guys subscribe to our YouTube channel too, man. It's That's a Bet Podcast. Just go on YouTube, type it in, hit subscribe, leave a comment. Leave a comment on Instagram. Leave a comment on Twitter. Leave a comment on our YouTube. Just let us know what you guys think about the show. All your feedback is definitely appreciated. Follow Will at Group 13 Sports. That's Group 13, the number 13 Sports, on Instagram and Twitter. And I'm at Lockett, SLOCKETT _TAB. Let's wrap this up, Will, and give these folks what they want to hear. Who's going to win the conference? Who's going to win the Super Bowl? And who you got for MVP pick this year?
All right, so we talked a little bit earlier about the Packers. We're on the same page with the Packers in a sense. My MVP is Aaron Rodgers, first of all. I think this is a year where Aaron Rodgers kind of seals up his reputation because he took a lot of hits in the regular season. One comment that he made that I love to hear was his new head coach / offensive coordinator, what's his name, Matt LaFleur.
Yep.
He said the thing that's different this year compared to in the past, it actually feels like they're scheming players open compared to in the past where he just tell Devontae Adams, hey, you got to beat your man.
Yep.
So it allows Rodgers to be a little bit more cerebral with this approach. And then it's not quite always, you're not always counting on him just to be a super playmaker, right?
Yep.
So I think that'll take some pressure off of him, allow him to relax. And I think this will be a big year for him. So I'm going to take him as the MVP. I love him as far as his talent. Is still the best player in the league. Patty Mahomes is probably my favorite quarterback, but I think Rodgers right now is still the best player in the league, and I think that'll show this year with him winning the MVP. As far as the NFC, I'm taking a dive into the deep end on this one. Because we know how our teams can be in the state of Georgia. But
don't say it. I don't even want to say it either.
I'm going to take the Atlanta Falcons. I mean, I just saw too much value in this pick. Atlanta Falcons plus 1,500. So so our listeners and viewers understand what we're talking about when we say plus 1,500.
Yeah.
If you were to put $100 bet that the Falcons will get to the Super Bowl and win the NFC, it's at plus 1,500, meaning you put down $100, you would win $1,500. So I love the value with that pick. We talked about it a little bit earlier. Everybody is back this year with the Falcons, and the only thing I'm worried about with them is them staying healthy. If they can stay healthy, I think Matt Ryan has a big year. We already talked about this. He doesn't have the strongest arm in the world, but they're playing 13 games indoors this year, which is conducive to their style of play. They like to play on a fast track type of surface. So I love everybody. If everybody can stay healthy on defense, they paid all their players. They paid Deion Jones. They paid Grady Jarrett. I think they're gonna be good to go. So I expect the Falcons to have a big year. It also is predicated on whether or not they can get home field advantage. If they can get home field advantage, I like them in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And then on the AFC side, I'm just going to go with what history tells me.
Why? Don't do it.
That's all I can do. I'm taking the New England Patriots to win the AFC. How could you not bet against them? Look, I want to say it. I was looking at the numbers earlier. I want to say it's the last.
Putting the dagger in me again.
Listen, man, it's in the last. I think it's 10 years. They've been at least to the AFC Championship. At least. So, I'm gonna go with history. I already told you about their defense. They've got a top 5 defense in the league.
Yeah.
And they still got that GOAT. They still got the GOAT. I love their receivers. I love the running back and the offensive line, and I love the division they play in. It's a cakewalk.
Yeah.
I like the Patriots to get back to the Super Bowl, but when they get to the Super Bowl, I look at this kind of like when the Heat played the Spurs the second time in the finals. The Spurs came back and had that revenge in their mouth. They had a taste of revenge, and they were able to crush the Heat.
Yeah.
And beat LeBron and them 4-1. So I like the same thing with the Super Bowl this year. I think it's down in Miami. I like the Falcons to have that taste of revenge and get the revenge on the Patriots and win the Super Bowl. So I'm gonna take the Falcons at plus 3,000 to win the Super Bowl.
Hey, that's some good odds there.
Absolutely.
I always look at a lot of these picks just to kind of give you guys an idea before I jump into mine. I look at the team's win totals, over under, and then I look at their odds to win NFC, Super Bowl, all that. The Falcons are over under 8.5 wins, and then they're plus 1,500 for the NFC, plus 3,000 for the Super Bowl. One of those has to give. I could see them if they were 7.5, 7 with the plus 1,500 plus 3,000. So it's kind of one of those things where it's like, why is it so low? A lot of people are like, oh, I have to stay away from it. No, but I actually see it as great value. You know, Will kind of pointed it out to you. I mean, that's lay $100 win 1,500, lay $100 win 3,000. You got to take those plays. So I like those. Will, as hard as it is for me to say it, because I don't like the jinxes, I like the Falcons to win the NFC. I really do. And
wow.
And I said this. I've said this to some of my friends. I said it like at the end of last year. I was like, if we're healthy, we have a squad. I mean, we have all the pieces on every level of offense, every level of defense. You know, guys are paid, guys are happy. You know, we have, to me, the best wide receiver in the NFL in Julio Jones. I mean, and he's motivated. The stuff he said this offseason, you know, he wants to break Calvin Johnson's receiving yards record. He wants to have over 12 touchdowns. I mean, he wants to shatter wide receiver records. So he felt the best he's ever felt. You know, I love Dirk Cutter coming back to our offense. You know, Dirk Cutter and Matt have been successful in the past. So I think, like Will mentioned, home field advantage for us is key. I think the Falcons really do their thing at home. They have, especially in the playoffs historically, it's just a whole new level inside of, you know, Atlanta when it's playoff time. So I like them to win the NFC there. My AFC champ, though, I like to go a different direction. I think the GOAT gets slaughtered this year, and I think he gets beat by the Chargers. I like the AFC champion LA Chargers. And I say that because I think the LA Chargers end up getting home field advantage, and I think that'll be the difference. You know, LA, of course, is not going to matter because they're a little stadium, but I think just getting New England out of that little baby stadium, the Galaxy Stadium, I just think getting New England outside of their normal routine in the playoffs is the key to kind of getting them off their game, changing their schedule, changing their rhythm just historically. And I think the Chargers winning the division, I like them to win the AFC West. That'll give them home field. And then the key is they just have to have a better record than the Patriots. And I think they win 12 games, and I picked the Patriots to only win 11. That's kind of the difference there. So we got the Falcons, Chargers in the Super Bowl this year for me. Super Bowl champ, them Dirty Birds. I think the Falcons go to Miami and do it, man. And when they go, I'm making a trip to Miami. And you know the crazy thing is right now, I'm literally hurting on the inside because I'm actually saying that they're going to win it. It took everything in my – like I literally wanted to change my pick, Will, just to not say it, but write it down still.
Right.
For this, look, I love y'all listeners and all viewers, so I got to do it. I got to say it. And if it comes back and bites me in the ass, it just bites me in the ass. So, Falcons, Chargers in the Super Bowl champs down in Miami, the Atlanta Falcons. We get our revenge, but not against the Patriots. I just can't do it. So, yeah, Will. I mean, that's kind of our rundown of our futures bets, man. Our players props and, you know, all of our Super Bowl picks, our conference picks. We're gonna post these on our podcast page on Instagram and Twitter. Let me know who you guys think. If you think it's, you know, you like somebody else to win it, you know, let us know. All our YouTube, viewers, drop a comment, under our video if you like somebody else different from what we pick. But, with that being said, man, I totally enjoyed, like, Will, it's like riding a bike. It's like we've been off, man. We haven't been doing it, but it feels good to be back in the saddle. We here doing our thing and, getting back in the grind. So, without further ado, man, Will, man, go and take us home, man. What you got for us?
I mean, the show went a little long today, but it's the first season or first show of the year. We had to get all these props in, so we hope moving forward we'll be a little bit quicker in getting you guys some plays out there. But remember, if you're watching us or listening to us, if you see it, or basically what I'm trying to say is, if you see a bet, don't be scared, take a bet, and remember, it's already locked in. So sit back, relax, and just remember. That's a bet.
That's a bet. That's what we got to do. That's how we do it.
Take a bet. That's a bet.
That's a bet. That's how we do it, man. So from your boy Lockett, man, that's Will. We will see you guys on the next episode. Like we say again, subscribe to the pod, subscribe to YouTube, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, like it, man. Just give us some love, man. If you don't like it, tell us too. That'll help us out. But just do something. All right. And we will see you guys on the next podcast. We'll be one a week this year. We're gonna do one a week. We may throw two depending on content, or we may just keep it one. We'll see.
Yeah, we got to see what the interest is with the college, but we definitely want to jump into the college action as well.
Yeah. So we may split it up, but we'll see.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But
remember, see a bet, make a bet.
That's a bet, baby. We'll see y'all, man. Peace.